Hey guys, how you doing? Alright, let's get into this. Alright, we're into the London system, the Grunfeld. Alright, so we're at D4. This is basically a standard line. You can get into it from many different lines. It just basically set up like this. And then your castle is there, and just play slowly. Don't try to rush. Don't try to castle and then play here. You could play like this, but remember, don't get tempted to retreat back. Don't do that. Just play the nice subtle knight to E1. Then remember what happens when he takes? You take back and look at his broken king side. We can take control of that and take advantage of that, right guys? Most definitely. So, but if you do retreat back, it's not the end of the world, but it's a dubious move, which means it doesn't plan along with our idea of going a knight to E1. Okay, just remember this move: knight E1. If takes, we take back, and we always can reroute. We can reroute back. We can come over here and then do an attack on the king side, queen side. So don't rush. Whatever you do, don't rush. Think your moves out. So if you go like this, knight takes, c takes, it's just a little bit harder for black now to, for white now to break through the king side. So it's better if we can get his pawns on h like this. If we had pawns like this, his king is pretty bare to the world, and we'd be able to later on take advantage of these two pawns. The ones like when you play here, here, and there. So that's why h3 was actually played. To if the knight ever thought about going to h5, we just retreat our h5. We retreat our bishop back, and it's like, why did you go to h5 now? Was there a point there? And it's like, no. So this kind of dissuades black from doing that. And later on, we have g4, f4, sorry, f4, and then we can get an attack going. We don't have to castle. Sometimes in the London you don't have to castle. Sometimes you can play uncastled. b6. Castles. Let me see, where are we at? Hold on. Sorry, b6. White must be patient in the closed maneuvering game which follows. So we got to be patient. So we castle. Then he plays here. Try sometimes different for white. Has a harder chance acquiring an edge if he had played. White has a hard time doing an edge if the setup's like this. This is a little bit harder for a white to play. We should at this point try to maneuver to e5. Get our knight something on e5 to take advantage of e5. But because he played e4, it's not a good move. A5, which that to undermine this structure. Takes, knight takes. We don't want to take with the queen. We don't want to take with the queen because it puts it on a really bad diagonal, and it has nothing to do with our position. We want to keep our queen here because it does a wonderful job where it is. Also, it could potentially come out to these two diagonals here, and then maybe even straight up. You never know. There's a lot more play. Just take with your knight, e5. We take, and knight f3. This says to black, you want to trade? I'll be more than happy to trade. If you trade here, I take back. Now I have a pin on this pawn, so I wouldn't do that if I were you. That's kind of what he's saying to black. So don't try it. Queen e7, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, and then bishop f3. Bishop f3 is a really important move. This type of position occurs a lot in the London system. White actually stands a shade better because there are pawn targets on the pick. What that means is, like here, these are targets more than what white has. See, white only has 2. Black has 4 pawn targets. Let me see on the pick. Well, white's space advantage is rather meaningless. The even better news is that virtually all your opponent's players, all the opponent players that you're going to be facing, guys, all of them will think that black is in actually a positional advantage. But they're under the misconception that they are the ones who are not. They'll think that they're a shade better here because of how expansive their pawn is. But in reality, you're the one that's better because you have more targets to attack. This was actually played by black. It's an okay move. It's an interesting move. This is more of a solid move. If you're wanting to hold the position, this is more solid. This is more of an interesting, like, what does that move accomplish kind of idea. Let me see here. So a6. Oops, I forgot to put an exclam mark. Drat. There we go. There's the exclam mark. So bishop c6, bishop b3 to take scope on this and that, and also to get our rooks ready for doubling up on the d file, because it's the only open file. So if we can dominate that file, we have a strong bind on the position. And then a3, which this gets an exclam. I forgot to put the exclam on here as well. This takes scope. If you guys noticed, there was a weak point on a3. So what black has to do is actually play queen e7 to guard this. Black doesn't want to have to play he doesn't want to have to play c4 here, because then that locks these pawns on light squares, and now there's 6 targets out of the 7 pawns are on light squares. So this only helps white by doing that. They're saying to try to relieve the pressure with b4, c takes b4, rook takes, and then a c1, which now we're eyeing the c5 pawn. There's queen to e7 to guard c5. Rook d2. This kind of gives us flexibility of we can shift over to c2, or we could shift the c1 rook over to d1. So it kind of gives you flexibility, like, because you don't really know kind of what black might do with his rook. So d, we just play b6. Now we've shut every door for black. He can't come there, can't come there, can't come there, there, and the only spot that he can go to is that. But why would you want to go there? C5 and rook c3. This idea is so that if he plays rook takes b3, we can take back and win a pawn. So c5 is played so that when he takes, it takes, or if we take here, he could take back, and then if we take there, the queen takes. And so it's equal, except black does have one disadvantage. It would be an isolated pawn. We have a better pawn structure. So in any case, queen bishop to east e2. This is a really nice move because now we have two attackers, two defenders. Potentially this may fall. You know, there's a lot of attacks. So b5, this attacks the bishop. So a5 is played here. This is a really nice move because now we potentially have the ability to take without any threat of a rook attack. And the queen's pinned, so the queen, the pawn can't actually take because of course you guys see wham, is see you later queen, and I don't really believe black do that. So there, and then queen d4. Now this is, if he takes here, we win a rook because it's protected. So there's really no way to kind of parry this position here. It's going to be a little bit of a sitch for black. So we're going to go back to move 21 now in the game. So I'm going to shift back to 21. It's going to look like what in the world? Okay, now we're back. Queen a3, which is an exclam. He plays back because excuse me, 1 second. I need to get a drink of water. Excuse me. Swallowed wrong there. 1 second. Much better. It was good water. Yummy. Okay. I forgot to do one thing. I apologize, guys. I forgot another line. So rather than queen to e7 here, there's queen takes d. b2, queen takes b2, rook takes b2, rook takes c5, b3, and then the bishop. Now, this allowed for an isolated pawn, so the d pawn's under fire, and the a pawn will soon fall. Later on in the game, these are 2 points of weakness. So we have 2 pawn islands. Black has 3 pawn islands. So this will become a weakness. This will become a weakness later on in the endgame. Okay, so now we're back. And those were the ideas based on trying to relieve the pressure, but it's just black can't really relieve the pressure without losing something. So it tries to pin the queen. b4 with an exclam. c4. Let's see, 20. Let me go to 22 here. All right. b4. Sorry, I gotta go back here. b4 is a key move. What it does is it fixes the pawns on the light squares. So remember this move. If it comes down to a bishop of the same color, guys, remember to try to fix the pawns on the color of your bishop. So black has to play c4 now, and so now these pawns are on the same color as white's bishop, which gives white a slight advantage. Excuse me, allergies. Okay, d4. So we're now starting our onslaught to take advantage of the weak d5 pawn. So he doubles up there. There's also this moves also rook to b6, then e4, a7. A8, bishop a8. Pawn takes. We get a central pawn. The rook takes, and then we play queen to c1. The whole idea is that rook attacks the queen, so everything for black's retreating. Queen to e3, which now the rook has to stay here, otherwise another pawn falls. So rook d8 is played, and we play rook to e7, and at this point black is all tied down. He's defending everything. He has to defend that, has to defend that, has to defend that, has to keep an eye on the bishop, the rook, so everything is in full defense mode. We're in full attack. So he can't play rook to b6. He has to play rook bd7, bd8, kind of to keep control of the central c5 pawn, d5 pawn. Otherwise, white will get a passed pawn, and trust me, when white gets a passed pawn in the London system, it's like a headache to try to defeat. So a7, I mean a5, king to g7, h4, and he's kind of, see, black's kind of having to pass the move. The idea here, he played that. There's actually a line that is potentially scary for white. If g5 is played, g4 and rook to d8, and this kind of puts the question to say to white, why did you go h5 now? What was the idea behind h5? We can now play g5 and say, we can just lock that down. Now you have a weakness. What are you going to do? Your pawn's on a light squared now. So, but he didn't do that. He played rook to d8, kind of being, the player's nervous. So let me see here. Right there, and queen d2. White has two ideas. One, to target the c5 pawn and strike later with a favorable e4 pawn push. So that's the idea, to push. And then also another idea, so the first idea is to go here and then e4 maybe. Second idea is to potentially exchange, weaken the structure of black. Actually, more likely he's going to take this way, and then play your rook to either f, g, or h4, and in conjunction with a queen going to d4 check. So you'll have a potential attack. Then you may even have later bishop g3, and you can retreat your bishop back, or retreat it to e, and then go g3, g4, and try to undermine the structure. He goes h7, which is a dubious move. There's queen to e5, h takes e5, h takes g5, and now the idea could come to the forefront of one of these here, because now we accomplish taking. So we're going to maybe try to come up here, trade off, and say that white has a weakness here, so I don't know if we want to trade in that line. He plays h6, which we took, and now he's in a big time problem. He doesn't have g5 anymore, or f5, so we can actually at this point play bishop g4. Now we've infiltrated. The rook has to go to d6 to hold. We go e4 at this point. Black panics and plays queen to e8, which is a mistake. Black should have stayed sensible and played bishop to e8, a8. Sorry, bishop a8. Bishop f3 to take scoping in on this pawn. All the pieces are I and d5 for white. Rook takes the pawn, e takes. Now we got a pass pawn, which is, I told you, very dangerous when white has it in the London. ad8, and then rook e1. And now white is actually tied down to the defense of holding everything together. Black can't really hold all of his position together. So the position is actually going to become similar to this in but the bishop's going to be over here. So, but it's very similar setup. So black kind of panicked and was like, and just moved a piece. Rook takes, pawn takes. Now we have a similar position, but the sad point is the bishop isn't here, which would tie down our bishop to f3. Now our bishop has free reign basically, maybe to even implant itself on e6. You never know. So rook d1, d6, rook e1 to attack the queen. The queen moves over to attack the pawn. So we first check so that now we can play bishop there, and if rook takes, our pawn takes, and we're still good. So if here, and there, we're good. Alright, yeah, so there's a lot of lines. So king h8 or h7, queen. Now we're attacking here, defending. So here and here, which is double attack. So the rook has to go to d8 to guard the bishop. And then we go queen to e7, and at this point black's lost, because if he tries this, we can actually take here and check, and when he moves, you get a pass pawn now. And there's nothing that black can do. It's all over his passive. So b8 was played, rook b8. And at this point, d6 was played, and now the idea is to put a rook on e7 and win. So we played, and then the finishing touch was when he played rook b. We moved our queen to d8. No more threats that the rook could attack our queen, and rook to e7 is coming, unstoppable. There's nothing that can stop that now. It's all over now. Okay, so let's take scope and take a look and do our summary. Don't get fooled by black's space advantage in such a position. The pawn is a target, so we're going to go to the d5 pawn. Let me see. Let's get to the d5. Hold on. Let me get to where's the d? Where am I? I missed something here. Let's see. Oh, here we go. d5. Sorry. This pawn here, the d5 pawn, is the target that the whole game's about. d5. On the queen side, outweighs any benefit black gets through space. So this d5 pawn here, any space that black gets, like maybe when he takes his pawn, doesn't account for this weakness here. And then e4 at the right moment would be played, and boom, we got him. So now we're going to go over a game, but if you guys have a game you guys want to go over, well, I'm more than happy to do that. This is a game between Tamir versus Cameron Wheeler. So I gotta get a drink of water. This was actually just recently played, so that's why I kind of picked it. d5, c4, and supposedly I believe I heard that Tamir is actually a like professional blindfold chess player. E3, E5, C5, and so it's really interesting. If takes, so if takes, queen takes, and you lose castle and rights, but white still has a developmental advantage. So knight E7, bishop c4, knight f5, d3, a5, e4, and then knight to e7, which is, this white's better here, so but white has to somehow get their pieces involved into the game. So queen a4 check, queen, and then b5. Now we're having a pretty good idea of a c6 push. B takes, castles. Taking here would be a silly idea because there's that threat, and it's all over. Now if bishop takes here, we get an outposted knight, which is better for us. So a3, knight, no, bishop b4, rook b1. It's guarding the pawn. And now we're attacking and keeping the king from castling. Knight d7, bishop takes, rook takes, and then h4 with a pretty good attack. This is predicting that if somehow in the world black ever got castled, we have h5. So this is kind of telling black, you may get castled, maybe, but you're still not out of the woods. I have h5, and you're gonna feel some heat you're gonna be under the pressure cooker. So queen b6, rook b6, which puts pressure on the queen here. Sorry, the queen. So queen check, in comes the queen. The bishop retreats back, and then wham, h5 gets shoved up the board. It's like, does white have any mercy? You know, it's like first you're attacking there, then h5, wham. It's like, ugh. And now you're going g4 with the attack here. It's like, what? Rook takes, knight takes, king f7, and then now we're coming in here to see if we can't get a mate, our potential there. You know, there's a whole bunch of attack. Now we're rerouting our knight, so we're going to try to either come, let me see, do we have any, this doesn't make any sense, so more likely it's c4 that he's going to go to. So we have to guard this pawn. So it's not like white's out of the woods with without any consequences either. But for the moment being, white was putting a lot of heat on black. So the knight's under fire. g3, and then queen to b8, f4. Now we're going for basically total openage. He takes, and then e5. Yikes, takes. I'm wondering if this is pawn takes better though. So it only helps. Okay, I gotcha. That allows for black to retreat. We pick up a pawn. We're attacking the bishop. And so if the queen foolishly takes, wham, we win your queen. Oh yeah, that's so sweet. Queen f3. Now we have queen, he has queen b7. We're attacking his queen now. And we're trying to see if we can't get any potential scope of an attack there. Because if we can get a knight here, we can get potential mate. A4, F. Oh, nice. Takes. And then now another knight's coming in. So then the dancing of the knights. Let's see, if he takes here. Oh, we get a smother. No, we don't get smother mate. Oh, wow. I missed that. There goes the queen. Yeah, okay. So the queen has to go to b7, which is forced. Queen takes, knight takes. Now we're getting our king involved. Oh, we have the opposition now. Loving it. And he resigned. I think back here, when he plays here, I think what he's a little concerned of was, I think we still have the ability to come here, and then if he comes there, he has to retreat back. Oh, I get it. I see why now. That makes sense, because if we take, it comes there. No, I think we still win here. Either way. Oh wow, that would have been sad. Draw. Oh man, that would have been sad. Then you grab the pawn. And now there's no way that he can get any counterplay after that. He just grabbed that. Okay, wow, that would have been a sad state. So we'll do some puzzles. Let's see what we got here. Okie dokie. Trying to see if it has anything to do with bishop to h6. If you guys have any games you want to go over, just put them in, we'll go over them. So I'm thinking if queen h6 check, queen takes h6, rook takes f7 check, rook takes f7, rook takes f7 check. The king goes to, let me see, I'll say g8, and then we play queen takes g6 check. That's kind of the idea that I'm thinking about. What do you guys think? So I think we win if I'm not mistaken, we win a queen at the end of that line. So he'll have to move his king, then we pick up a rook. I'm thinking that that's it. I'm going to go with it. Oh. That's pretty odd. Why doesn't this work? So it is okay move then. Hey Fox. Okay, we had the right idea. Snap. Oh, Joel Raul Capablanca. There, okay. Oops, gotta turn off the engine. No, we'll just turn it off. Okay. If you have any questions on an area, just tell me. Yeah, this is a cool, nifty idea here. He really can't play here because if he tries something like that, you can play there. This actually is kind of a funny move setup here. And if he takes, and you win it. Actually, you don't win a piece. Yeah, well, I guess you do win a piece at that point because you win this, and there's really no way of. So the whole house is actually falling apart in that line. You'd have to play something like this. not wham there, but something similar to that. So that's why he couldn't take, if you're ever wondering that. There's always drawbacks. Now that the bishop is in front of the king, he can't take because that pin idea doesn't work anymore. Move 14. Okay. Kind of like a Roy Lopez setup a little bit. Nice. They don't, if you notice guys, they don't force their moves. They build up and plan for it. So we have to do that too. It's like welcoming the takes, because remember, more than likely black's gonna castle queenside, right? I mean kingside. So white's just gonna step off to the side, move his rook, I mean his knight, bring his pieces in. So now if he takes here, wham, we win a pawn. So you're talking about move 15. He kind of welcomed right here the idea of that, because we wanted to go to move 15. Then you can actually bring a knight in. And let me see here. And I believe you could just step over to the side, that if he castles, you can bring a rook to g1. Or you could do a potential a5 like Capablanca did. And then after castles, takes. First of all, rook takes, bishop takes, and you've won a pawn. If he comes down here, you then can say, I'll just implant a bishop there. And what did you really accomplish? Yeah. That was kind of his idea, was that. I'm starting to see how the grandmasters play. Like he is able to take, and this is now a weakness for black forever. Yeah. Now this doesn't have as much teeth to it as it did before. He doesn't want to give up his good knight, because then he would have to say, this is a bad joke, good night to it. No, that's bad. Bad joke, but hey, gotta have a little fun and a little laughter in chess, right? Wham, there we go. And hopefully, oh, he doesn't play queen there. Drat. That would have been, well, I guess he can't because of that. Yeah, that would have really been a pain in the drain. Nice, e5. That opens this up. Like if he takes here, now you get a pass pawn, and very interesting, to say the least. maybe he can actually play. That might actually be a better idea. I think I went a little too far with this is kind of the idea if he takes. And if you play there, you then can grab that pawn. Now you're attacking the bishop, and so if the bishop takes here, let me see, what could we actually do in that line? Interesting. Maybe this isn't as good as I thought it was. Okay. Well, you gotta look at some ideas. Yeah, if takes here, that's not a really wise decision. Yeah, h4, h5, yeah. You'd have to back here. Yeah, h4 here, h4, h5, yeah. That might be the idea. I think that'd probably be have to be our idea if we went down that line. Like he can't take here because let me see. We have queen to g4. Then he'd have to play there. And then we have knight to e4. We hit him right away. And what can he actually do here? He'll have to retreat back, and then wham! So he'll have to come up, and then let me see, what else can we hit him with? I'm trying to see what else can we smack him with? Let's see. Not smack him. I mean attack him with. No, I don't know if we want to check. I'm trying to see. We can't play here because of this bishop. Yeah, bishop takes g. That is an idea. Bishop takes g6. Queen g4. Bishop g6. What move was that on? Was it back here? Oh, bishop g6 here. Okay, with a threat. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying on there. He's like provoking him. Take my knight. It's you can have it because then I got your queen. So he's not gonna be able to do that. He might try taking there. And then the knight would have to retreat out. We'll say probably here because he wants to guard that. Well, then you have a rook that comes there. Bishop has to retreat back. Ooh, there's our friendly fork. And bang. We can't really do that fork yet. Well, I guess he could, if we play there, he could take there. Yeah. Oh, I gotcha. I see what you're saying. Like if he takes, oh yeah, the in-between move. Yep. You hit him with the in-between move. I forgot about that. And then you take, yeah, now you're up material. Now you're the one up material. And then he'll have to prove, is this actually good enough for me? Wow. That was a pretty big slap in the face there. That was not fun. Ooh, nice. If he takes here, you win a piece. That's pretty sweet. Takes. Now we're attacking. Man, power attack for sure. And he doesn't want any forks, so he just plays over. King up. Push. Push. King over. It's going to be hard for him to hold all that. Wow. Whew. That's power right there. That's Capablanca for you, though. He hits back really hard. He doesn't ease up on the pressure. And eventually, under the pressure, you break. Oh, Capablanca versus Alekhine. They had some of the most, in my opinion, firecracker games, man. It was like, wow. Two different playing styles. One more positional, one more attacking. So it's like the clash of two ideas. Reminds me very similar of a kind of Karpov, Garry Kasparov setup. Karpov more positional, Garry more attacking, and those were some really good games too. Let's see here. So we'll look at it from Capablanca's side of the board. So d4, e6, e4. Ooh, the French. Wow. Wow, that's interesting for sure. Yeah, that is sad. Castles, d8. Or d8. Queen to h4. Excuse me. Takes. Okay, so he wants to keep his knight on a really great outpost. Now this knight's pinned, so he's attacking the bishop to get rid of one of the bishops. And now if he could trade off, this actually batters white because of the knight endgame. Wow. Clash of the Titans for sure. This is kind of to make a flight square for the king and then potentially g4. This gives Capablanca some ideas. There's also this idea too, so that if queen takes, the knight could take back. And that's under fire now. Ooh, nice. I want to see what Alekhine hits back with though. Yeah, makes sense. That's you know, it was a hit that was parried. They hit right back. d4. Oh, nice. Okay. Can't take here because you lose a rook. So very sneaky on Alekhines' part. You gotta love it. This is an interesting idea with doubling up here. Now he's attacking the rook and the pawn, so if he takes here, he's going to actually play there, and then he's got him. Because if he tries that, he checks. And I'm thinking that we're close to... is there a mate here? Hold on, let me see. Give me a sec. I believe there's a mate. Hold on. Yeah, mate 3. Yeah, that's right. Wham. Okay. That's why he played bishop there, not takes. Because even if he plays here, I think it's... he still gets mated. Yeah, it's a mate 2. Wow. Very, very nice. Now the rook's under fire, so the knight can leave. Now the rook's under fire again. Now this rook's under fire. Check. Wow. There we go. Now that's that rook. Trying to see. I think we do we have. I think this might be a mate. No, just it just wins a rook. Okay. I'm starting to get better at sensing these kind of subtle nuance ideas. That's kind of, there's a reason that they don't take stuff. Yeah, if he plays there and you take, he's got that. I think you still could grab a pawn in that line, but I think he would play something like there to guard his pawn and then attack here. So I'm not sure if this is I'm not sure if this potential. Oh, it did like my idea. His idea wasn't the best. Wow, we found the best idea. Yes, hurrah! And we found the line so far. He takes, or does he check first? Okay, he takes. Let's see if we play. If he plays there, yay! We're doing it. We're doing good. Great. Now if he takes here, we take there. Okay, sweet. Yes, we're doing it. You see, we're doing great. We're actually finding the moves, guys. Takes there. Well, now I understand why you play here, so that he has to take, and then you take. Well, he doesn't. I guess he doesn't have to take. He can just retreat back, but he's going to lose a piece in that line because he'll have to move over. And first, you can kind of be a little brutal and first grab a pawn. It comes back, then you check. Actually, that's even not nice. You just grab another one. Sorry, let me redo that. Okay, here you don't check. You don't have to check right away. Just grab another pawn. It comes there. Check. And actually, can you just mate at that point? Oh man, I think I missed a mate here. Yeah. I think you just, yeah, like there's two ways to mate. No, one way to mate. Well, I guess there is two ways, because you can chat. You can come over here, or play there. Yeah, this would it'd be sad you wouldn't be able to checkmate that way. Hey, we're seeing mates. I just got to work on my execution of them. So what? I gotta make sure. I just want to check something out. So he takes. Okay, so that is the right move. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I was checking out the correct line. So there. All right. Wow, Alekine. I mean, Kappa just disintegrated Alekine's pawn structure on the queen side. Yeah, this is basically toast at this point. This is just a walk in the park for Alekine. I'll be right. Okay, I have one more game today. It's very different from Capablanca, much more attacking. They call him no reserve. Oh, that's funny. 1 second. Oh, that is a good one. Oh, that is good. That is good. Whoa. It was all the way back in 1930. Wow, 36. I'm not surprised. You know, some of these, oops, engines have really changed how chess is played, because there's not a lot of, excuse me, there's not a lot of blunders that could be made anymore, which would allow for brilliant ideas, because all the grandmasters have like the highest powered engine there is. And they do see new moves, like different moves inside of openings, so it has helped out in that way. Okay, e4, knight e6, d4. So which one's which? Let me make sure I get the right player. Okay, he's white. Gotcha. Gotcha. D5, knight f3, knight f6. Oops, I gotta turn off the engine. This isn't a great learning lesson that way. We want to do it ourselves. Bishop g5, because the engine's good for if you have a question and you kind of don't know where to go. That's kind of a good thing to apply it to. But try your best to do it without it. Oh, it's doing a classic variation. Ooh, the Alekhine Chad variation. This is a really difficult one to meet. You don't really want to take here, because you get sucked into a huge attack with something like that. Then you have to retreat out, and then you have a bishop attack, and if you castle, of course you fall into a horrible idea like this. You could actually, let me see, how could we do this? I'm missing something here. Missing something. Let me see if he played there. Maybe queen up there. That's probably the move. than if you'd play. I've had something like this before. You can actually sacrifice if he takes there. Oh, wait a second. The knight's there. Sorry. That did not turn out the way I thought it was. The knight was there. But there's a way of mating here that if you take, you just got to be really careful. If you get into, if they do the Alekhine Chad variation, just play like this. Just don't bite into taking, even though you win a pawn. The pawn is not worth the amount of devastation that the black can do or white can do on you. So keep that in mind. Be very careful. But if you know all the theory behind the Alekhine Chad variation, and you know how to kind of, you know, as they say, go through the maze of the moves, more than happy take the pawn, but you're just going to have to play passive for a while. It's all based on theory, the Alekhine Chad variation. Nice. This is under fire now. Takes. Yeah, this is the knight's coming out. Queen comes down. Now you're getting ready. I would be close to almost castling queenside here. Yeah, this is yeah, I gotta have to move because this is an idea. Castle queenside. See a weakness, attack a weakness. And now this takes scope on this pawn, so we're gonna win a pawn. And he has to defend. Now we're attacking here. We're gonna try to win another pawn here. King has to come up. Now we're gonna check there and kick the knight out. I mean the king out. Wham. And now if he takes here and he plays up there, let me see here. What do we got? Oh, we can actually slam a rook right there. Or do we slam a rook? So it's a knight first. Knight first to attack the rook. Okay. King takes. Just 1 second. We'll check that out. I just want to see how this game ends. Check. Yeah, because if he takes here, you can actually, in theory, play the pawn takes first. And if the knight... And you actually can play... Or you can even just retreat the bishop back and go up that way. Okay, you were saying chess switcher after e4, e3. Okay, queen e3. That to me is C. All right, queen e3. There is another threat. So knight take. Oh, knight takes d5. Yeah, yep. That's right. He's got an attack here, an attack there, an attack there. Yep. This pin really is a pain. You guys need to watch. We'll do it slowly, and I'll just click it very slow because you need to watch how white basically wonderfully used all the tactics that we know. Like this is a pin right here. When the queen moved over, this is a pin. Sorry, here. So this is available for a takes. And white's also seeing a potential there, an attack here. So watch how this is. I'll just go one thing at a time. Just watch. Take it all in because it's such a beautiful tactical maneuvering. White sees a weakness, attacks it. Black has to defend, so he's reacting. The bishop goes to f3. Now potentially we can bring a rook over. We get all of our forces into the fight. Queen comes back. You can either bring a rook over or queen comes back. Either one works. But this puts the threat on the pawn. So the bishop has to go passive now. So reaction chess. The king comes up to defend because there's only 2 defenders on this pawn. Because when the queen dropped back, it had to draw a defender away from the protection of the e5 pawn. So the rook just slid over and said, I think you're missing a defender, and so the king has to go up and go, rats, I have to come up and guard now. I thought I was safe, drat. And then now the knight goes, well, I guess it's my time to go into the fight. So it says, I see a spot on c5. And I'm going to come in there and oops, there's a fork potentially move there too. So let's see. And then now we brought in 4 attackers of the pawn. The king has to run. And we grab now a pawn over here because now you notice he's lined up with the queen and knight. And this is under fire. Once this is gone, we have that. So knight takes, and queen takes check. He comes back. Now the knight, and if you play here, you have a bishop takes, and you're going to win back material this way. You can win the queen that way. And black's all tangled up, so that's why it takes, and the queen has to take. And the king takes. First you check. 1 second. Excuse me, I had a little dry. We'll finish this up here, and then I'll get a drink of water. F7. And now we take the bishop here, because that's the only thing that's guarding the knight. So we just smack that. We take. When he takes, the rook comes over, and now we're attacking, and there's no real way to save the knight because he has to go here, and then when he does, we just grab that pawn. He moves over. We just grab. I don't understand why he gave up his queen though. I think he would have been down too much material. I think I kind of see the idea now. If he hadn't have done that, he would have been down too much material. And then if the knight tried to move, we just come over and grab that. And then when the king comes back, now you just start walking this pawn, and I don't think there's any way of stopping this from queening. No. Well, there is that. But then now we can bring up another. Actually, we could just play here. They plays there. Wow, I don't know if there's any way of stopping the. This is just winning no matter what you do. Good game. That's a really good game. I'll put it on puzzles and I'll be right back. So we're going to work on this. We'll get our rating back up to 2,500, and then we'll keep pushing forward. If you guys have any other games you're wanting to look at, Well, more than happy to look at them. Great game, Fox. Thank you for it. I'll be right back. Let's see. Knight takes a5. Okay, so knight takes here. What if knight takes back? Probably we would take with queen takes. So probably at this point queen takes g4, knight takes g4, and then bishop grab. And then we grab the bishop on b7. So probably, so if knight knight takes e5, knight takes a5, queen takes g4, knight takes g4, and then bishop takes b7. I'm just trying to figure out if rook... Hold on, let me get a drink of water and then I'll talk again. Okay. I'm wondering if... excuse me. Oh, bishop takes... Oh, I gotcha. I got you. If bishop takes c6. Okay, so you're saying if bishop takes c6, bishop takes c6. Bishop takes c6, bishop takes c6, knight takes. One second. Pardon me there. Okay, bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes. Knight g6. Okay. Okay, if king... What happens if king h7, though? So knight takes, and then we play knight takes e5. Okay, queen takes takes c2. Knight g6, and then king to h7. Oh, wait a second. We can actually... That's silly. We can actually take this pawn, this here. Yeah, I guess that does... yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay, so then... Let me see. What do we play now? I think we just take the queen. I think that's forced at this point. Nice find there. Good job. Great job. Great job on that one. That was a tough one. I'm thinking a quiet move of queen to g4 might be the idea. And then if he plays knight to oops, sorry, queen g4, knight f6. Then we play bishop takes f6. Then if knight takes f6, we actually come from here, and then we made him there. So queen g4, knight d f6, bishop takes f6, knight takes f6, queen takes g7 equals mate. And then if he tries to defend with here, he might try to defend if we so queen g4, g6, knight takes, H6 check, king H7. I'm not sure if we acquire anything out of that. I'm not sure if we acquire anything out of that line. Because I was looking here, 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 there. I think we could just no, we can't retreat out at that point. Well, I think we can actually just bring our knight back and we take. Okay. Yeah, that is an interesting idea. I was looking at that. So, knight takes. Knight takes h6, check. King h7. Can we actually play a check here, though? But I was hoping to get Anastasia's mate, but we don't have a rook enough to do it, though. Because usually the knight guards these 2 points. You could sack a queen, or maybe another piece for that, get a rook to come up, and then slide over, and you get Anastasia's mate. But I'm not sure if we accomplish anything with that line. I'm trying to see, okay, if we come here, he comes up there. That's why I'm thinking just a quiet move there, but I think it's too. Well, we do win a piece. We'll win a pawn because if he plays queen here, we pick up a piece. So if he plays here, we can take, and then if he comes up, we can retreat our knight back, and then if he takes there, we can actually take here with check. And then pick up another pawn. So I guess my idea is to keep with the threat of mate on G7. I'm kind of seeing if we can't play with that a little bit here. And even if he tries this, let's say we play here and he tries that, you can actually just first of all take here, and when he comes there, or comes here, you just take with your queen, and now you're threatening so much devastation. What do you think, Fox? I'm thinking it's queen to G4. I think that's you've seen a very similar puzzle before. So what was actually the move? Because the other one was correct. Yeah. Oh. Nice. Oh, wow. I want to check something out though. Yeah, let's bring the rook up and it's mate in 6. Okay. Yeah, you pick off a pawn there. Okay. Wait a second. We were going to look at this idea here. We were thinking about this, right, Fox? If we played here. So let's take a look at this and see why this doesn't come to roost for some reason. Let's see. Okay, there. Kind of wondering about that move. Oh, we're so trapped. Okay. Why? Oh yeah, right there. That's right. King. That's right. King H7. Gotta remember. Yeah, I pushed it over. And okay, Queen to D3. Queen D3. He takes. And let's see. How can we? Wow. Yeah, we did good there. So we'll go on to our next one. That was a fun one to go over. A really fun one. Ah, snap. I'd love to play here, but we have a checkmate there. Snap. That's not fun. Let's see what we got here. Okay, if we play queen takes rook, this is an idea. Queen takes rook, king takes, knight check. Rook takes. Sorry, rook takes, knight takes, king takes, and we're up in exchange. What do you guys think? I'm thinking it's queen takes g2 check. Exactly. Rook takes first, not knight takes. What do you think, Economy? What do you think, guys? I agree with you on the rook takes. What do you think, guys? I think it's the rook takes, and then you have to take with the knight. And then at the very end, what you're stuck with, that's supposed to be. It's supposed to be funny. You get this, and he has that at the very end. Everything else is traded off. So let's go for it. And then at the very end, we accomplish our idea. We also win a pawn here. You gotta love that. You gotta love that. We're gonna win a pawn. He might try this, but we just move a rook over, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. You know what? Your position's wrecked. We're gonna win. So yeah. Let's see here. Oh yeah, gotta love Yasser Saruman for sure. Yes. He's our pawn. He's our pawn grubber. He's cool. Let me see here. Let's see here. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Knight went from. I'm not sure. Let me see. Where did he go to? If they're there, so the queen moved. Now we have to see if we can't get some attack going. Potentially. Thinking something like that. Queen to h4. Thinking either queen h4, because then you're threatening mate here. You're also then threatening there, which threatens there. You could also be potentially threatening bishop. I'm just trying to find different move sequences. There's a potential this. There's that move, that move. So candidates moves could be queen to h4 or bishop g4 or knight g4. Something like I'm thinking it's one of those. I'm only concerned of bishop g4 with f3. Interesting. So this is kind of, if we were to do bishop g3, this is kind of the idea that potentially could happen. Knight takes, we'll look at that idea, because you know what? Knight takes f3. Then knight takes f3. I don't know. I don't know if we... I'm not 100% sure if the bishop g4 is right. I'm kind of liking more the knight move, because oh, I gotcha. Gotcha. I see what you're saying. Oops. Yikes. That would have been not good. That would have been really, really bad. Really bad. That is an interesting idea too. So let's take a look here. So we have bishop here, f3, queen. Let's see, if pawn takes, queen takes, king up, then knight g. But I'm just a little concerned if we play here, he plays there. What if he just plainly takes though? Well, I guess we could just take with our knight at that point. We're double attacking. Yeah, I kind of see that. Yeah, I kind of see that. I see that. But we actually, our knight traps our bishop, so we can't really do anything. This knight's the problem. We don't have when we play here, we don't have this because this knight's in the way. Yeah. We might have an idea like if we play here, or we could maybe take, and then if knight takes, Bishop takes. Queen takes. Not sure. Do we actually accomplish anything at that point? So what is actually the line? You got to put in the line, the full line, so that we can look at it, because we have a lot of lines going on. Okay, Queen G4. Let me just take a second here, because I just want to make sure that I get this 100% right. There. There. It takes. Wow. That's a shock for sure. So I think just king takes at this point. I don't really see anything else that could merit doing anything else. If we moved our king, we lose our rook. So if we take with the knight, yeah. Alright. Oh, hold on. Let's go back and take a look at that line. And I'll do one more game, and then one more puzzle, and then I gotta log off here. But I want to take a look to see what would happen if here. Okay, we decided that queen there, if takes, takes. No, you had the right idea, Fox. You did. It's just we have to take the bishop. We win a bishop in that line. Yeah, and then if queen takes, you play here. He plays there, he plays there, he plays back, and then you get checkmate. Yeah. And there's probably a lot of players are going to take with the queen, so you'll have a pretty good amount of victories. Okay, hold on. Let's go back real quick. We'll find out. Hold on here. So here, here, here. After knight takes. Okay, let's see what happens. So G3. Bishop takes. If pawn takes, takes. If queen intercepts, we take. He takes there, we take, he moves, and then we take. And so we're up in exchange at the very end. So we'll go through this this line. Here, takes, there, takes, takes. If queen intercepts, we take queen takes first, there, takes, and then rook takes. Gotcha. Alright, let's make the last one a really good one. Come on, let it be at 2,500 so we get like 16 points or something. Or even 2 or 3, or even 1 point is better than no points at all. So that's a positive thing. Let's see here. Well, I'm thinking it has something to do with takes here. Knight takes the bishop. Because this ends up in actually mate here. Because then we can actually check here, he goes back, then we go there and it's mate. So this has to be the first move. And I think it still ends in mate. I think it still ends if we play here. He plays there. We play here, and he has to take. Otherwise, it'll end with mate. And so we'll get a queen and a bishop for a knight. It has to be. I believe it's this move. So knight takes e4. If queen d1, knight f3, check, and then queen takes f3, queen takes f3. Well, then all we got to do at that point, if he does play a a6, we go queen to c6 and we stop everything. Queen c6 and we stop everything. But yeah, I'm thinking that this has to be the. I was wondering if he was going to play f4. Not sure if it's that. I'm thinking I'm thinking knight. Knight to. I'm thinking. I'm looking at knight to f4. Check. Rook takes f4. And then queen takes f4. I think that might be it. Maybe we push the pawn. No, we lose our knight. So we can't do that. Snikes. boy, this is a tough one. I'm trying to think here, because we have, if we check with the queen and then the king moves, we do have knight. Sorry, if we check here, king moves. We have knight to g4 with a potential fork threat. Sheesh, our man alive. There has to be at least this is an idea, that's an idea, and that's an idea. So we have candidate moves: knight f4 or queen g3 check, and knight d3. We have these ideas. I need to put an or in where the knight d3 is. Huh. Can we do it? Can we do it this way too? Can we actually do knight f4, rook takes? Rook takes f4, queen takes f4, queen to g2, queen takes e3. Can we do something like that, or am I missing something here? I think we're fine. I think we'd be okay in that line. This is a tough one. I'm trying to see if it's Yeah, so I'm thinking that's a good. What do you think? Sorry, not F, knight F3, yeah. Knight F3, sorry. Knight F3, yeah. Not knight F4, knight F3. That's funny. But what if this happens? So what if we do here? He takes, queen takes, G, here, he comes over, and then we take that with check. And we would stop the pawns from promoting. What do you think? Let's try this idea. Okay, here, there, there, rook takes. Okay, check, gotcha. Alright then, queen comes over. We take. It comes over there. We wouldn't be able to take because if we took, he made us on G7. But see, what would happen is if we played here, 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 the rook slides over, right? But then we take this pawn, and it's with check. And at that point, we can hold the position together with G5 at that point. You want to try knight F3? That's kind of all I can see that's the best in that line. It's the only one that at the very end comes with check at the very end with the queen. That's the only one I can see. Let's give it a go. I might be wrong completely. Because it has, this is what I saw here. If he plays here, we can actually take first there. When the king moved, then you could play. Oh, it likes bishop. Why doesn't it like that? Oh, okay, because the rook can come over and attack the bishop. Okay. Okay. And then if he tries that, we actually can stop that. Okay. If he tries there, you just grab that. Alright. Okay. Do you have any questions? Oh yeah, let's go over that one line. Let's go over this line here. Do you have any other lines you guys would like to propose before I log off? Okay. Well, thank you, Fox, for those three games. Those were very informative and great games. We learned a lot from them. I appreciate that you brought them in and showed them to us. And you know what? We're it's taking us a little time, but guess what? We're knowing and we're applying our ideas, and we're working together as a team. That's what matters. We're willing to take the risk, and we're doing it, and that's a huge thing as well. And we're hanging up our coats on the rack and our hat and sitting down and doing the things that most will not. And because you know what, a lot of people think it's impossible. A lot of chess players think it's impossible to go down the route we're doing, but we can do it. And I like that one that they hung up their hat, they hung up their coat, and they sat down. And the thing that was said that couldn't be done, we did. We did as a team. Okay, and remember what Hannibal Smith said? A plan's only good when you have your opponent reacting to what you are planning, and you know exactly the forced moves that's going to happen. That's a plan. He also says, I love it when a plan comes together, so that's cool too. Keep a lot of what's going on around the world with earthquakes and stuff, all the countries that are going through that in your thoughts and prayers. And so I'll leave you with that. And as Wesley So says, through the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless. And I'll see you guys next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Remember that we can do this. And remember, you have to. I want you guys to have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening, because that's the whole thing. And keep studying. You know, that's how you get better, is study and keep working. And so with that, I will say adieu and keep doing good, guys. And you know what? We're in this together as a team. And Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll do some more studies of the Grunfeld, some puzzles, and some games. If you guys want to bring games, we'll go over them, and we'll continue to take the coal and make it into a diamond. Okay, guys, be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.